I missed a turn. I think I wasn't paying attention or something. And I ended up in the Conecuh National Forest on a long, long winding road coming through the middle. I hadn't checked my fuel. The light was on. I think it had been on for a while. I didn't see no people. I didn't have a cell phone signal. My phone said SOS. I've never seen it say SOS. And and I didn't have any food. I didn't have any water. But I could never imagine that being a place where you would be, lost, where you're gonna, shrivel up into a skeleton and die or something like that. I think eventually somebody's gonna come along and would help. But it was a pretty sobering experience. And I finally got out to a road, and of course the light had been on for a long time at that point. And I followed a couple of cars that had come from the left, and I followed them for a little ways, and it was obvious they weren't going anywhere important. And then about 4 or 5 other cars come back the other way, and I thought, well, they've got to be going somewhere important. So I turned around and I followed them, and it was only maybe 6 or 8 miles, and I actually came to a gas station, and I stopped and I got some gas, and I walked inside and I asked the people, and what's up with the cell phone signal around here? And they told me that it was a cell phone dead zone. And so, obviously I wasn't going to have GPS out there in the woods. And I don't even know with the SOS would I even had the ability to call 911 or anything to get any help. But they said it was probably a good 10 or 15 minutes up the road before you could even get a cell phone signal. And so, these kind of things can happen. And I think that just kind of helps to better illustrate that, survival's a very broad thing, and there's a lot of different faces of survival. And that's one of the things that we want to do with the podcast is to, paint that picture of all the different faces of survival. And it can be a near-term, immediate survival situation where you're lost somewhere and you need food, water, fire, and shelter. Or it could be a relationship, long-term in a relationship, in a toxic relationship.
Things that you would have never considered actually being to do with survival. Because when we think about survival, there's this image of you've got a basement cellar filled with canned goods and you're practicing archery and you're
prepper.
Yeah, exactly. There's the prepper model and there's the zombie apocalypse model.
Yeah.
So there's like different ways that we conceptualize and try to deal with what this looks like of just survival. It's always much more intense than what it really is. It's just like living long term.
I see these folks that are out on the corners, getting money. And, my first thought is that's a big scheme because there's different people on the corner all the time. But the truth is, a lot of these people are they're not living out there because they want to live out there, and they are surviving. And I certainly am interested in bringing some of those people in and talk about their lives and how they're surviving. People who are sick with cancer, that's survival. There's just a lot of pictures that we can paint. That's what the podcast is about, and we really hope you'll join us in our podcast starting in December.
I'm Sarah Darville.
I'm Ken Darville, and this is Zodiac.